In this video, I'm going to answer a few questions and I'm going to give you tips on how to pick the best USB mic for your needs. What's up, blind viewers? How's everybody doing? I'm going to continue on talking about audio. We've been talking about it for a while, so I'm going to try to answer some questions first. So I'm going to start out with some specific questions, and then we're going to answer some general questions that I get a lot. So let's start with the specific question from Static Campervan. The question is, I've been keen on buying a stereo mic that will work with my iPhone. What are your thoughts about switching to stereo? Would a stereo mic be worth the expense? That is a very good question. Now, just like most things with audio and microphones and everything else, it depends on your use. What are your needs and what is your specific use going to be? For instance, mono. Now, mono is very good for stuff like this when you're out and not in a controlled environment, because it's tight. It'll pick up just what, it's more directional, and it'll pick up your voice and kind of block out a lot of the noise. However, stereo, before I go on, mono, now there are things that does split it, so it's not just like doesn't come in one ear if you're listening in headphones. So it does split it, and it does do that fake stereo thing, I guess you could say. But now stereo is, it's more realistic and immersive, because obvious thing is we hear that way. We have two ears on either side of our head, so we do hear things from two different sides in stereo, and then it all kind of blends together. So it is more immersive, it is more realistic, but a stereo mic will pick up everything. So, for instance, in a studio setting, it won't just pick up your voice, it'll pick up the hum of a computer, if someone walks by, if a dog barks, it'll pick up everything, all the ambient noises. The same as if you're out hiking and you want to hear the birds and the wind and every little thing, the leaves and the sticks crackling on your feet, as well as your voice, then a stereo mic is exactly what you want, because it'll give you that immersive feel. So in other words, if you're sitting here doing a talking head thing, there's really no sense in spending the money for a stereo microphone, because you get that, I guess you call it phony stereo. But if you're going to be outside and you're going to be filming walking through the woods or big scenic views and all that stuff, then you might want to go ahead and dive into that stereo microphone to get that all-inclusive, immersive, realistic feel to your video. So again, it's all up to your needs and your expectations. All right, the next one is from Lola from Lost on Land again, and it's pretty simple. It's, what kind of USB mic do you recommend? All right, now I chose this question because it is not just a specific question from Lost on Land again, but it is also encompasses one of those broad questions that I get a lot, and I can answer a lot of people with this answer. Now, the USB mics are progressing on a really rapid rate, again, because of the lockdowns and everything else, and a lot more people streaming, doing podcasts and all kinds of other things. Companies are really putting out the USB mics, which are the simple versions. You just plug them in and go. You don't have to have a mixing board or anything else. All you need is your laptop or a computer or whatever, and a USB plug, and boom, you're ready to go. All right, so again, it depends on your needs and your situation and what you want it to do. Now, when it comes to brand names, we'll talk about Elgato, Rode, Blue, Fifine or Fifine, Fifine, and Shure. All right, so let's just go through them. Elgato, that's a company that they're making all kinds of really good stuff for streaming, not just microphones, but a lot of other things. So Elgato's one that is good to look at. Rode that's pretty much the go-to for YouTubers, Twitch streamers, and a lot of other people like that in the video realm of the internet. Rode is the one to go to. A lot of people get the Rode shotgun mics and put them on their cameras as an external mic. Blue, I'm sure you've heard of the Blue Yeti or the Blue Snowball. So the Blue company makes a lot that people use. The Shure is one that I always look at because the Shure microphones have been around forever, and I have been using them or working with people that use them since the late 70s, early 80s, and they're still making awesome quality microphones, and they're progressing along with the time. So that's why Shure is one of my favorites. And then the Fifine, however you pronounce it, is kind of like I'll say a newer company, but they're putting out some decent quality, less expensive USB microphones. Now, when it comes to USB microphones, these are some of the things that you want to look for. Build quality. Okay, now, if you're going to be in a studio setting and it's going to sit on a desk near your computer and your monitor and all other stuff, then if it's a little bit cheapy, plasticky made and it's not the best, heaviest, as long as it sounds good, if it's not really built that well to save, some money on the build quality, then that's fine. Because I'm sure you're not going to be throwing it around and everything else. However, if you are, say, a nomad or a van dweller or whatever, and you want to pull it out and use it, even whether it's sitting on a desk outside or inside your RV or van, and it's going to be bouncing around and whatever, then you don't want a little cheapy plasticky one because, So that's the first thing to take into consideration. Now, this is a personal thing, but it's a recommendation that I highly advise you listen to, is that the less expensive ones often have the cable built in. So in other words, it's a microphone with a cable that comes out and a USB plug on the end. Don't get those. Stay away from those. Get a microphone and a USB cable. Because if that little connection from you doing whatever, moving it around, and something in there, then you got to throw the mic out and get a new mic, unless you're hell-bent on ripping it apart, trying to find out where the break is or what happened to resolder. So yeah, stay away from those. You want a mic with a separate USB cord cable that you can plug into the mic and then plug in. So if something happens in there, you can troubleshoot easy to find out if it is the cable or the mic, and if it is the cable, you can replace the cable and keep your microphone. Now, the next thing to think about when you're thinking about microphones is your knowledge of sound and your ability to fix it or tweak it or make it sound better. In other words, do you know a little bit about adjusting the treble and the bass? Do you know how to use an equalizer, whether it be, say, like an 8-band or a 12-band or whatever? Do you know how to use an equalizer to mold that sound? Do you know how to use compressors and noise gates and all that other stuff? If you don't, you want one that is pretty much a plug and play. You want one that sounds pretty decent right out of the box without having to tweak it a little bit. Now, again, I'm old school, so I prefer a microphone with an XLR cable that I can plug into a mixing board so I can mix it before I record it. I can hear it, and I can mix it, and I can adjust the tone, get the tone that I want, and do all that and then record it. Whereas a lot of people, they just talk into the mic, cross their fingers, whatever tone they get out of their microphone, then they go into their DAW or something and tweak it afterwards. But with the USB microphones, you can actually get software, and different USB microphones, different companies have different software. In other words, some mics, you plug it in and that's what you get. However it sounds, that's how it sounds. Other microphone companies, you plug it in, you download their software, and then you can go in and you can tweak it slightly. Some you can tweak it a lot. Others have simple adjustments right on the microphone. They'll have a gain or a volume knob, or some of them have a little tone knob. So these are things you want to look at also. So if you're not real knowledgeable about how to mold and manipulate that sound to get those tones that you want, then you want to research a mic and make sure that it does what you want, and you just plug it in. But if you're one of those ones that like to play and tweak and you know what you're doing, then you got to look for something that has that software that enables you to get that sound that you want. Now, speaking of getting that sound that you want, some microphones are higher or tinnier. Some microphones are really mid-range driven. Some microphones have that bassier sound. Some of them, they get kind of muddy. So you have to think about your voice and what you want. In other words, if I grab a mic and I just plug it in and it sounds nice and rich and it works for my voice, if, say, a guy with a higher pitched voice or a female or a younger person, say a child, a teenager or something, gets it, it's not going to sound the same. It'll probably sound like crap for you. Just as if a female gets a mic and it's really nice for the highs and it boosts that bottom end and doesn't make her sound masculine, but brings that bass level up a little bit and gives it that nice warm tone. If I grab that microphone, it'll probably sound horrible. It'll sound all muddy and make me sound all really, really bassy. So if you're not going to adjust things and you don't know what you're doing, you want to find a mic that sounds right with your voice. Now, the other thing with the USB mics is that they often come with some type of little stand, whether it be like a little tripod looking thing with 3 legs on the bottom of it, or some kind of U-shaped base, or they always have some kind of base. Now, the next thing you want to think about is that bass what you get? Or can you remove it from that bass and put it on, say, a boom arm or a little different type table mic stand or whatever? If you want to be able to mount it in different places, you have to make sure that your little USB microphone is capable of being detached or removed from the stand that it comes with. That's very important. All right, now I know what you're saying. That's all good information, but you're not telling me which microphone to get. Well, I can't. I can tell you what microphone will work for me. I can tell you what microphone works for my budget and the quality that I want and all those other things, my voice type and all that good stuff. So here's what I suggest you do when looking for any kind of mic, but your USB mics, if that's what we're talking about right now, but any kind of mic. This is what you do. Open up Amazon, then open up another tab and open up YouTube. Now go into YouTube and type in, what are the best USB microphones, or what are the cheapest USB microphones, or what are the best inexpensive, or whatever, something like that, and watch the videos. Now, if they come up and they say, okay, I recommend the Rode whatever, boom, pause the video, go over to your other tab, type in whatever they just said, the model number and everything, and look at it. look at the price, look what it says, and then go back over, click on the video, and when they use it and demo it for you, and maybe even compare it with 3 or 4 other microphones, you can hear the difference in the tone. They'll show you how the plug is, and they'll show you, they'll probably tell you, oh, it's real plastic here, or this is metal, or it's kind of heavy, and all that good stuff. And you can go in and you can read the comments and the reviews on Amazon. So that's what I do. So you have the best of both worlds. You can look at the price as they're talking about it. You can read reviews from people who have bought it, and you can watch that video and hear the audio compared to other ones, or just at least hear that audio. So that's what I suggest you do. Do your research. So what we have figured out is, what are your needs and expectations, and what is your price point? So take those things into consideration and go do a little bit of homework. Because I can sit here and tell you that, go out and get that new short that just came out. Yeah, go out and spend $300, get that microphone. You're out of your mind. I'm not spending $300 on a microphone for stupid YouTube videos. I get it. So that's the deal. If you are going to be sitting down and doing live streams and gaming and doing whatever, and you're going to have a nice quality microphone that you want, and you bought a $1,000 camera, and then you're going to go probably get good audio. But if you just want something that just sounds better than your camera microphone or your cell phone microphone or whatever it may be, then you just got to figure out what you want, how much you want to spend, what your knowledge and skill level is, and what's going to be the easiest for you. And the best way to do it is do what I just said. Open those 2 tabs, go back and forth. Is somebody on that video saying, this is what this sounds like, and this is what stop it, type it into Amazon, look at it, and if it says it's $150, pass, next. And just scroll through that video till they talk about another one. Type it in, look. Oh, look, that one's only $69. Okay, what does this thing sound like? What's the guy talking about? Is it plastic? Is it cheap? Is it garbage? Does it sound good? That's what I recommend that you do when choosing a microphone. Now, somebody asked me, how about a wireless microphone? All right. Now, I'm going to tell you my opinion on wireless microphones. And they brought it up when I talked about the little digital recorder that I plugged the microphone into, the lavalier mic. Someone said, well, they have wireless microphones that you can put on your camera, and you put the pack on you, and it's wireless. I don't like them because you're relying on that not being interfered with. And usually you don't know until you go back and your audio's all intermittent, or it's not there at all, or whatever, or as soon as you walk past a certain point, it cuts out, and all that good stuff. And you usually don't know until too late. If there's a wall in the way, if you want to duck behind a wall and come out and walk and talk, that could block it. If you're too far, if a plane flies overhead, if you walk, anything could happen to interfere with that wireless connection. I don't trust them. Sometimes you have to be within, line of sight. So I'd rather have that cable that's plugged into something that I know, Another question I get is, why do you wear headphones? What are you listening to? I'm listening to me. I'm listening to what is going out there. Now, I could be sitting here without the headphones, and I could be talking away, blah, 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 blah. Something could happen, and I wouldn't hear it. I could be talking too loud or whatever, and no, I don't want, so I can hear what you guys are getting. Well, why don't you just turn on speakers? Well, just like that sound that I said, you want to speak into the mic and you don't want to go hit the wall and come back and go through the mic again and then again. Well, that's what happens with the sound when you play speakers. You turn the speakers on, so I talk, my voice goes into the mic, it comes out of the speakers, goes back into the mic, comes out of the speakers, goes back into the mic, out of the speakers. and it just loops and loops and loops. All right, warning, this is what happens. Hello? Check 1 2. Check 1 2. That's what the speak. See, that's what you get right there. That's why you can't do it that way. That's why headphones. You get that feedback, that squeal, that echoey crap. Yeah, it just loops forever. Okay, so I hope this answered your questions and to your satisfaction. I hope this cleared some things up and you got a little bit of information out of it. Anybody have any more questions? Go ahead, feel free to fire away. I will answer them the best of my ability. So, yeah. Next one is going to be my pet peeves, the mistakes that people make with their audio. And I'm going to give them some tips on how to fix them and not drive all their listeners crazy. This is Blind Views. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. That's the way I see it.
What we do here is go back.